Dr Charlie Mc Manus is with me here. Charlie, very strong presentation in there, the concussion and the cardiac screening. You spent a lot of time on the concussion because it has become a big issue.
Well, that's true, Charlie. As I said at the start, I don't claim to be a world expert. I'm not here to give a world expert presentation on it. I'm here to try and give a message for people to take home. And it's a very simple message that, look, if you're involved in team sports, and I'm not just talking about the guys, the physios, the PTs and sideline. This goes to teammates, the refs, the umpires, the linesmen, then on the sideline, whoever's there, the manager, coaches, physical therapists, physios. At that stage, if you have any concern, assess the player and make sure that they're willing to go on. And if you doubt about it at all, you just take them off the field.
Yeah.
And no one will ever hold it against you for being overprotective. But they'll never forgive you if you're not, and that's the difference. And I just try and give that message in as informed way as possible as I can, without being given too much information, and just hoping that I can just relay really the take-home message. And look, it's a great forum. It's some great speakers here tonight. It was great to be asked. Marion, she was very patient with me. And it's a great forum to try and get a message like this across to a large collective of people who are involved in a team sport environment, and I hope to take something from it.
Yeah, you were involved with our county team during those glory years, so you were right down at pitch side and saw that incidents, and you highlighted a couple in terms of Donegal's own players, Ryan Radley particularly in that match against Down and Cavan. Is it going too far to say that winning has become much more important than players' health?
I wouldn't think so, Charlie. I think there has to be a clear divide here, that what you're trying to do. Every team wants to win. Every player who puts the hours in that these guys do, they want to win. You wouldn't do it otherwise. But my whole philosophy on it is, let the players play. And it doesn't have to be senior intercounty footballers. It could be under 12s, under 14s, under 8s, the guys in the playground at school. Let them play, but just if you're charged with being there as an observer, that you observe, and if you have a doubt, you raise it with someone next to you, or you go in and you assess the boy, or the girl, or the player, and you act appropriately.
Yeah.
When the guys cross the white line, you want them going at it 100%. You don't want them coming in having, say, lost a game, but having 20% in the tank, or not having emptied themselves. You want them to go out there and put all that training to use. You want them really just to explode, empty everything they have after all the months of hard training, and you want to encourage that, but you want to make sure that you have guidelines and you have a protocol, and you're aware where your deadline, like where your line is, and if you have any concern, then you need to cross that line and intervene. And you did mention a couple of games there, and the Down game in 2012 will always stand out in my memory, simply because we had 2 concussions in the first half. One of them was, accidental, Ryan Bradley, and I know he won't mind me talking about him. Ryan is about 6'2", 15 stone, and a very well built guy, and he landed awkwardly from trying to catch a high ball. There was nothing malicious in it. But as I said inside, very few things scare me in terms of dealing with players or patients. But when I was running out there, I was petrified, because at that stage Ryan was just lying on his back, wasn't moving, and I didn't know what I was going out to.
Yeah.
And then when we got Ryan assessed and got him in just before half time, and we regathered in the dressing room, and the game wasn't really going to plan for Donegal. It was a very tough, dogged game. And Frank McLean comes up to me, and I've discussed this with Frank, and he's always said it's okay for me to mention it. Frank said he couldn't remember the last 15 minutes of the first half. And that's frightening stuff, because then, myself and Kevin Moran were there with Dermot Simpson, the physio, and we had to go to the gym, and Rory at the time said, look, we have to take another man off. And so they had to rejig their entire team in the space of about 5-10 minutes. But all I can say is that we were never questioned.
Yeah.
And that says a lot. We were never questioned about it. Once we said it, we weren't, our decision went. Yeah. And you have to give a lot of credit to the management they had, that they were that aware of our concerns, and that they didn't doubt our judgment.
Yeah.
And as I said, in times of crisis, you need leaders, and and that doesn't have to be anyone with big massive titles, or anyone with big loads of letters after the name. If you're charged, or if you're involved with looking after an under 8 game, an under 10 game, 12, 14, any environment, or I say any arena where there's potential for a collision, then you need to, just be a little bit observant, and no one will ever hold it against you.
Yeah.
And
do you think events like this tonight are going to highlight, obviously you highlighted there tonight, the more of these we have, the better, and people will be taking it home with them, and I think you said, if in doubt, leave them out.
Oh, if in doubt, sit them out. That'd be, I try and give a very, I try and reduce it to one or two little take-home messages, because, this is not the forum to go into the whole, what they say, pathophysiology of what happens when you get a bang in the head. That's not for here. That's not for many meetings. And anyone who does go into that level of depth, they're probably losing the point a little bit. The point here is to just say, look, if you are involved, be aware. And I have spoke. It's great, I enjoy these forums, because it is a chance to speak to a large collective, and everyone in that room is there on a voluntary basis. They're all trying to do their best for their club, or for their community, for their own children maybe, or for whatever age group of child, and they're trying to see what can they bring home to their own piece of parish or whatever. And I encourage that. I've spoken to Sean Doherty 2 or 3 times about concussion. I was in some of the clubs. Glenn Swilly had me up talking about concussion, and I said I don't give it I just want to give a take-home message, and if you're concerned, if you're in doubt, just act, and no one will ever hold it against you.
Yeah. So the GAA moving in the right direction then, Charlie?
Oh, the GAA are very much so moving in the right direction, there's no doubt about it. But the one thing I would say is that, you highlight a couple of cases where you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward. So you have a great event night tonight, and you try and get a great message across, and then you get, an event, someone gets, like in Six Nations where George North gets knocked out twice and he's left laid on, and that totally takes away the footwork or the foundation you've laid. That takes away the carpet from under your feet, because then you're going back to give the same message. And then, so when you have high profile cases that are managed very badly, it reflects on what's going to happen the next day. People then say, well, if that guy can go back out, why can't I go back out? So the main thing is to try and reach a level of consistency. I think the GAA are definitely doing that. They have a great website. They have a very informative website for a lot of various aspects of player welfare, and they have a specific area for concussion, and also one for cardiac screening. So GAA are doing their best. Clubs, they're becoming more aware, more informed, and that's all you can ask for, Charlie, and if you do that, if everyone, as Michael Murphy used to say, if everyone's going in the same direction, then you get a great result. It can only end one way, and that's in a very positive way.
Thanks for talking to us, Charlie.
No, Charlie, it's a pleasure.